Welcome, Lainey, to VERSED, the ASCAP Podcast. You are a very busy girl these days, so I appreciate you carving out some time for us.
Absolutely, I'm excited.
To get started, two of your most recent big hits are Wait in the Truck and Heart Like a Truck. And to borrow that theme, I'd like to check under the hood to see what drives you.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, sorry.
Check under the hood to see what drives me. There's a lot of things that drive me. My family, my hometown of 200 people. They're just a bunch of hard-working, blue-collar folks who really take pride in what they do. My daddy's a farmer, my mama's a teacher, and when you grow up in an area like that, I mean, I've watched my daddy get up every single morning and do the same thing, and he has good years, he has bad years, and those are the things that drive me, because I can use a lot of those same tools with the music industry. It's really crazy how many similarities you can truly find, but my gosh, I feel like in the beginning, you know, nobody would give me the time of day, and that was the thing that drove me, that gave me that extra drive that I needed. And now, honestly, it kind of feels like others' support is the thing that really drives me. I feel like I've got a lot of people rooting me on and cheering for me, and I've got a lot of people who believe in me, and that gives me that extra little thing I need to keep on going.
Well, you give them a lot to believe in, so that's a beautiful testament to your spirit and your music and what you're doing right now. So you have said that growing up in Louisiana, in that small town, country music, country songs were not just music, it was your life. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Look, I didn't even realize that country music was a genre growing up. And that sounds silly, but when I tell you we lived out all of the songs, it was honestly just a way of life. It's what we listened to when I was in the back of the truck, when I was riding the tractor with my daddy, when I was cooking in the kitchen with my mama. It was the soundtrack of our lives, and it still is the soundtrack of my life. I just don't know what I would do without country music, and I've loved it for so long. I mean, ever since I was a little girl, and it finally feels like country music is starting to love me back, and there's no better feeling than that.
So your music is filled with a love of not just country music. There's rock, there's soul, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
So what other sort of musical influences entered your world as you were starting to write songs and
Oh my goodness.
perform yourself?
Well, when my parents would pick me up from dance lessons, they would turn on some rock. I mean, we'd listen to Bob Seger. There was something about those loud guitars that just kind of drove me crazy. I was like, man, I wanna sing about country stuff, but I want to put that loud guitar over the top of it. And yeah, we were surrounded by a lot of different sounds, even the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
You know, when the sun went down in a small town, of course, you're going to have those heartbreak songs, and you're going to, you know, put your drink in the air and be crying with everybody, but also you want those other kind of songs that put that thump in your chest,
right,
that everybody wants to feel at some point in time. So Dolly Parton was a huge influence of mine, and I mean, Hank Williams Jr., you name it.
Right. Were there other women in music, as you were starting to think, like, maybe I can do this too, that you looked to either for inspiration or as sort of a blueprint for, if I kind of go that way, I think I can do this?
I think about Dolly Parton. I think about Reba. I think those two ladies right there have done it their own kind of way. They're not trying to paint inside the lines. They're just doing what they do, and they're not scared to try something new. But through all of it, through all the incredible opportunities that they've been given, they have stayed true to themselves and their story. And, you know, knowing a little bit about their raising and their story, it gave me that courage that I needed to pack my stuff up and move to Nashville. I mean, I'm from a town of 200 people, and I know those ladies are from tiny towns too, where a lot of folks never get out. And looking at their careers and the way that they have done things gave me that, all right, girl, you can do it too, you know?
Yeah. So you did move to Nashville when you were 19?
Yep.
What was that experience like? Was it daunting, scary? Was it thrilling? Was it all of the above?
19-year-old Lainey had stars in my eyes. I've always been the kind of girl to have stars in my eyes, but I knew at a very early age I was supposed to be in Nashville. My parents took me on a family vacation to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And on the way home to Louisiana, I begged them just to drive through Nashville. And I remember exactly where I was on the interstate in Nashville.
Yeah.
I was in the back seat. I was on I-40, and I was staring at the Batman building. And right there in that moment at 9 years old, I told my mom and daddy, I said, this is home. And I just knew it. Even at 9 years old, I just had this overwhelming sense of peace about it.
Right.
I knew that it was not going to be easy getting to that point. So growing up, I took every single opportunity I could think of to get me to the point of moving to Nashville. I mean, I impersonated Hannah Montana. That was my middle school, high school job. I did 3 or 4 birthday parties a weekend. I would open up for myself, or I would open up for Hannah Montana, and then run backstage and go put the wig on and you know, throw a party. I would throw a 3-year-old's birthday party, and then I'd be playing at a nursing home the next day. So when I tell you I took every opportunity that was thrown my way, I really did. And then I started playing with a cover band in the Arklamas area, which is like Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi.
Right.
But I knew that my one true love was storytelling, and it was songwriting. And I knew that if I wanted to really see what that was all about, that I needed to be in Nashville. So that's when I bought a camper trailer and hauled it to Nashville at 19 years old. I lived in it for the first 3 years I was there.
Wow.
And I'm not gonna lie, I mean, there were some really hard times. Times where I should have, anybody in the right mind would have packed it up and went home. But
Right.
I thought back to that 9-year-old little girl. I thought back to that weird feeling that I had, that weird sense of peace. I think it was the Holy Spirit speaking to me. I just knew that I was supposed to be there. I felt like I was created for this. I felt like I was given a gift. And I'm a firm believer that if you're given a gift, that you got to use it.
Yeah. I know you worked really, really hard. You wrote, you recorded, you opened for whoever, you know, you could open for, and you really just like gave it your all. And then in 2020, that song, Things a Man Ought to Know, broke through. And there are so many factors that go into a song becoming a hit that's out of your control.
Oh, for sure.
But creatively, from a songwriting standpoint, was there something about that song that sort of like maybe turned a light on where you were like, okay, if I can kind of take this and go in this direction?
For
with
sure.
this, but,
I did learn writing that song, and after putting that song out, that sometimes when you write the songs that are super personal to you, to the one writing the song, that's the one that connects with the most people. I mean, I was truly writing a song about the things that my parents taught me growing up. They treated me and my sister like 2 little boys. I mean, they had us out in the pasture, cleaning up horse stalls, driving tractors. They had us learning some things around the farm. But more importantly, they taught me how to treat somebody, and they taught me how I was supposed to be treated. And, you know, we filled the verses with a lot of different things that you can visualize, like hooking a trailer on a 2-inch hitch. Before I left to go to Nashville, my daddy had me out in the driveway in Baskin in my hometown, hooking up my camper trailer and weaving it in and out of the pine trees.
That's awesome.
To make sure that I knew what I was doing. And I think, I mean, that's my personal opinion, I think a man ought to know how to do that, but more importantly, I think it's not about just what a man ought to know. It's something about, it's what we all need to know. It's about treating people the way that you want to be treated, and I'm very thankful that that was the song that really introduced me to a lot of folks, because that is who I am to my core.
Wonderful. So around this time, you became a member of the ASCAP family.
Yeah.
Joined ASCAP. Tell me a little bit about how ASCAP supported you in those early days.
Oh my goodness. It's really where it started for me, because when I tell you I could not get anybody to pay attention to what I was doing, it was crazy, because the truth is I'm doing exactly what I was doing then. Of course, I've grown. I'm a better singer, songwriter, person, all of the above, but I do think it's all about timing. But ASCAP was really, really good to me. I had a friend of mine, a songwriter, Forrest Whitehead. He's somebody who I've looked up to for a long time, and he would take me out to lunch and we would just kind of talk about songwriting, and he was encouraging me to get in the rooms with more published writers, and I'm like, Forrest, I don't know how to do that. I do not know how to do that. And he picked the phone up and he called somebody over at ASCAP, and he put in a good word for me, and that's what it's about. It's about championing people that you believe in, and he did that for me. So it's exciting to think that I'm in a position to where now I can do the same thing for other people. But ASCAP put me in their GPS program, and that is where I finally got my foot in the door on Music Row, where I finally got to meet with, I think it was like 10 different publishers throughout a few months. And I actually didn't even get a publishing deal through that, but it got the buzz going. It got people talking, it got people saying, who is this girl and where did she come from? And the truth is I had been there for 6 or 7 years at that point.
Yeah.
But that's where it started for me, was the ASCAP GPS program. So I will never forget that.
What attracts you to a song, whether it's a song that you're writing yourself or co-writing with somebody else? What is it that you look for, that you attach to, that really gets you excited about that song?
I want to feel it to my core. I want to feel like I wrote it, even if I am listening to the radio. A song that really like stops me in my tracks, makes me feel like, man, this song was written specifically for me. Like, how did they know I was thinking that? How did they know that I was feeling that way? And I think that's the beauty of co-writing, is you have 3 or 4 people, or however many folks it is you're writing with. You have all these minds and brains and different point of views come together, and you get a different side of the story with all of them in that one room. And so when you collaborate like that, you're going to hear bits and pieces that you feel like, oh man, this is for me. This is my song, and that's how I want to feel when I'm sitting down writing a song too. I want it to hit personal, but if it don't, I want to be able to put myself into the shoes of whatever it is that we're writing about and feel it for everything that it is, whether it makes you want to laugh, cry, or drink a beer.
Right. Well, your new album, Bell Bottom Country, is chock full of those songs, those kinds of songs. It's having such a huge success. You won Album of the Year at the ACMs, along with Female Artist of the Year. I love so many songs in this album, but I love the song titles. You know, Hold My Halo, Smells Like Smoke. There, Weekend, with week spelled W-E-A-K. Can the idea for a song title be enough to get you started and excited to write a song on
That's
that
where
idea?
it starts for me.
Yeah.
It's always with an idea. It's always with a hook. I have what I call my hook book in my phone, and a lot of times I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll have this idea, and I have to jot out beside it like what my thought was in that process, because there's times when I go back and I'm like, what in the world was I thinking? But it always starts with an idea, and when I'm sitting down to write a song, you know, people are throwing out their ideas too, and for me, best idea always wins. If it's something that I feel like speaks to me and will speak to other people, then yes, it's, you know, there's times when I'll have a melody or whatever, but at the end of the day, for me, I'm a storyteller, and it's got to start with the title, or it's got to start with that hook, and then I kind of build around it. It's like putting together a puzzle. Yeah.
So a lot of young people who move to Nashville, they might be great songwriters and very talented musicians, but to really get your foot in the door in Nashville, you need to learn the art of collaboration and co-writing. There's so much of that goes on there. In your experience, what makes for a successful collaboration? What needs to be present or in the room for something to be fruitful?
My goodness. The cool thing about it is you don't always have to be all on the same page. And that's what's, my gosh, everybody in life. Like, you're not going to agree about everything. But for me, I will say that I've learned a lot about life in a songwriting room. I've learned a lot about people. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned how to be a little more empathetic. I feel like when you can put yourself into somebody else's shoes, just even trying to put a song together, like there's something really special and magical about that. I will say there are a group of people that I write with, and every now and then when we know it's a special song, even like Heart Like a Truck, we had this just overwhelming, crazy feeling where we all just at the same time, we just kind of looked at each other like, I don't even know if we understand how special and important this song is right now, but something in my heart and in my gut is telling me that this song is going to touch a whole lot of people. And it's you don't get that feeling all the time, but when you do, you want to bottle it up, and it's no other better feeling than that right there.
That's great.
Yep.
The other aspect of some of the most legendary Nashville songwriters is a work ethic and a philosophy around the approach to songwriting. What is it about having that ethic of getting up every day and writing and pushing through the blocks or whatever challenges? What can that teach other writers about, how to really
My goodness. There's a lot that goes into it, but you're going to have good days and bad days. I mean, it's just like playing a sport. Like some people can play basketball better on one day than they did, the day before, and that's how it goes. Inspiration is not going to always be there, but you got to fight for it. Even if that means that you need to step away from it for a minute. Not every song is going to be good, but I do think every song serves a purpose. And I think that might mean even just to get you to that next song, you could be right around the corner from something that really does change your life. And I've tried to view it that way. I feel like writing for this last record, we wrote a lot. I mean, and even the first record, saying what I'm thinking, I mean, we went through thousands of my songs to dwindle it down to 200, and then we dwindled it down to 50, and then the top 20, and then the top 12. And I always make sure that I have a lot to choose from, because just like I said, not every song is the one, but I do think that they all serve a purpose, even if that means just for you personally. Some of my songs ain't never gonna see the light of day, but I'll go back and listen to it and remember where I was in that moment. Yeah.
So the songs on Bell Bottom Country, the production, the musicianship, the overall vibe of that album is really sort of a mission statement, and you sort of sum it up in the title, Bell Bottom Country. In your own words, what is Bell Bottom Country?
The best way for me to describe what Bell Bottom Country is I laugh and say country with a flair. For me, it's about embracing who I am, and I'm learning who I am every single day. I'm figuring it out a little bit more. But it's about finding those things that make you different and unique. I mean, it could be where you're from. It could be the way that you dress, which you dressing pretty dapper today now. You're killing it.
It means a lot coming from you. Look at you.
And it's about, it could be your story, embracing the way that you talk. Whatever it is, it's about being like, this is who I am, 190% unapologetically myself. And I don't care what anybody has to say about me. And that's what I wanted this record to be about. I wanted it to tell a little bit more about who I am and where I come from, but more importantly about, in embracing those things that make me me. For a very long time, I heard I was too country.
Wow.
And I was like, dang, I thought this was country music.
Right.
I was a fish out of water.
Well, your message is really making an impact. It's connecting with such a wide audience. I mean, people that love rock and roll, people that love country, people that just love an artist like yourself who is fully realized and just putting yourself out there. You're gaining awards, accolades, attention, everything that every songwriter dreams about. What are you most appreciative of this moment right now?
My goodness. It feels like here lately, it's been a whirlwind, but in the best kind of way. I'm trying to keep one foot on the ground because it does feel like I'm watching my dreams come true right before my eyes. It's crazy. I'm proud that it's taken me a long time to get here. I feel like if it would have happened when I wanted it to, or when I thought it needed to happen, that I wouldn't have been ready. I had not lived enough life to tell the kind of stories that I needed to tell, and I think time was supposed to be a part of my story for the little girls and boys watching my journey, to show them that not everything happens overnight. Sometimes it does for people, but I want this to have longevity. It's been brick by brick, and even building my team. It has been one team member at a time, and it has been one fan at a time. And I'm very, very proud of that. We've covered a lot of ground. It seems like, you know, it's kind of happened quick to a lot of people, but I've been in Nashville for 12 years, and we're just now getting going.
Well, your ASCAP family is very proud of you.
Thank you.
We are so thrilled to be along for this ride that you're having, and you know, we're behind you every step of the way.
Appreciate that
every
very
mile
much.
on that road, we'll be there for you.
I know that.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.